Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today's topic is going to be, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. So we'll get to that in a minute. Gorgeous day. It's in the 60s, blue sky, some white fluffy clouds. So I'm just home for the day. And I'll be heading back up north, spend more time up there with Mom. Came home for the group coaching today. So, take a couple of nice breaths. Thank you for all the love and prayers and support for Mom as she's going through her struggle. All right. So, it's not your fault. It's where you ended up, but it's not your fault. If you have any amount of self-blame for this called TMS, this thing called TMS, or perceived danger pain, it's not your fault. It's where you ended up. If you struggle with anxiety, or fear, or depression, or anything, it's not your fault at all. Doesn't matter what you're dealing with. You ended up where you ended up. And so I will tell you that if you blame yourself for it, it's just going to make you feel worse. You know? Not a real good, productive thing to do is self-blame, self-criticism, self-judgment. So, none of this mind-body stuff is your fault. But it is your responsibility to move forward. You know? Because nobody can do this for you. I can't fix you. Nobody else can fix you. You're going to have to kind of take these concepts on. Kind of accept where you are right now. That doesn't mean you accept that you'll be there forever. It just means you're going to stop arguing with the fact that you are where you are. Acceptance as to what is right now. That puts you in a good starting place. Acceptance that it's not your fault. You just ended up here. But it is your responsibility to figure out how to move forward. Really, your responsibility to figure out how to move forward. So, what do I mean by that? Well, so much of this mind-body work is utilizing the mind to influence the brain. To teach the brain that we're actually okay. We're going to be fine. And I teach this stuff every day. You know, if you want a formal deep dive in it, join the group. painfreeyou.com. Click on the Get Help menu. Check it out. But it is your responsibility to start to make some gentle shifts in the right direction. To start convincing the brain, the subconscious brain, that you're going to be okay. Nobody can do that for you. It's your responsibility. And, you know, a lot of times we think, well, I'm too anxious, I'm too fearful, I have too much doubt, I have too much of this. Okay. You are where you are, and it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to move forward. You know, sometimes shit happens and we end up in a really bad place. But you can choose how you respond to it. You know? You can choose your response. You can either stand up, fight for yourself, and say, damn it, I'm going to figure this out. It's going to be hard, but I'm worth it. Or you can say, poor me, you know, and kind of give up. So unfortunately, in the world of chronic pain or other chronic illness, people don't have the benefit of this information, of the mind-body information, of Dr. Sarno, of Dr. Schubner, Dr. Clark, Dr. Hanscom, these folks out there that are leading the way medically for this mind-body space. The vast majority of people just say, I'm sick and I got to deal with it. And I'll keep going from doctor to doctor to doctor and hope that things get better. But the good news is, once you've learned about this mind-body stuff, you've done the assessments and you know it applies to you, then it absolutely is your responsibility to utilize this information, follow the recommendations, and dig yourself out of the hole that you fell in. Not that you jumped in, it's not your fault, but that you fell into based on a lot of misinformation and fear. And where we ended up doesn't mean that's where we've got to stay. It really doesn't. And so, I'm going to strongly encourage you to kind of pull up your big boy and big girl pants and say, this is where I ended up. It's not my fault, but I'm going to put on my big boy or big girl pants and say, I can do this. I can get out of here. I can get out of this pit of despair that many of us ended up in. Not through our own fault, but where we ended up. So, take this on. It's not your fault. It's definitely not your fault. But it's up to you to move forward and know that you can. Know that you can influence where you are and where you're going simply through mindset. The belief that it's a mind-body process, it's a brain operating on fear and misinformation. And therefore, if the brain is creating these symptoms, then I can absolutely start to shift and believe and think differently and start to change the brain's perception of danger. And when I do, I can absolutely change excuse me, I can absolutely change the trajectory of my life. I can teach my brain something new. I can teach my brain that these perceived dangers are not really dangerous. And when the brain gets a message and it calms it down, these symptoms can fade away. They can evaporate. And you will notice that the more calm and reassured you are, the less you freak out, the more confident you are, the more you choose wisely to respond to symptoms in a calm, reassuring way, or almost a dismissive way, like, go away. There's nothing wrong with my body type of a way. You will notice that things get better and better. And if you continue doing that, they will continue to get better and better and better. I've had no chronic back pain since it left 12 years ago. I've had instances of back pain, but if it showed up, what did I do? Zero fear, gave it zero attention, called it out for what it was very specific with my brain, and it never became chronic. So you can do that too. And for anybody who's getting a little put off by me saying it's your responsibility, it is. Whose responsibility is it if it's not yours? Right? So just know it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. You can do this. You need to do this. You should want to do this. Because I've never seen bigger smiles than on the faces of those people who have put this stuff into play and have come out the other side knowing that they got their life back and now they can do life. They can live life. You can too. So, I'm going to wrap this up. Love you guys and gals. Again, I appreciate you and all the kind words, the prayers for my mom. So, love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.